here. Great to have you if you're participating with us live today. I recently had an experience that I just had to share with you all. As you know, Tiffany Kellogg and I are big believers in learn more to earn more, meaning for your business to grow, you must grow. In other words, our business grows into who we are. We do not grow into what our business is, if you will. So therefore, before we earn, we need to learn. And I recently took a course called Genius in 21 Days. Genius in 21 Days. And I took the course in an effort to increase my reading speed and comprehension. And but I got so much more out of it. It was absolutely amazing. I thought if I could double my reading speed, that'd be great. Well, I actually increased my reading speed 5 to 6 times and increased my comprehension by 60 to 80%, which is phenomenal, fantastic and phenomenal. The return on investment for me, absolutely priceless. There was so many other aspects of the course that were super fun. And I was especially jealous of the 9-year-old girl who was in the course with us. Because, boy, if I learned this stuff when I was in junior high or high school, I think my academic career would have been so much easier for myself. And with that, I want to have Cosimo come and join me. Thank you, Cosimo. Uh,
Thank you.
Cosimo is from Italy, and he and his wife brought the Genius in 21 Days course here to America, and they've had thousands of people go through the course. And the course is so rich with information, and as I say, I had an absolute blast with it. And unfortunately, Stephanie Cosimo's wife is not with us today, but they facilitate the course in an absolutely masterful way. Um, Cosimo, as we open up this discussion, anything you want to say in general about the Genius in 21 course, or maybe why you're passionate about it?
Before we do that, if it's okay, for those of you watching, if you have questions, comments as we go through this, we are here to fill those. So please put those in the chat wherever you're watching, and we'll make sure we have that conversation with you.
Thank you for that administrative break,
Yeah,
Tiffany.
thank you. Well, the most important thing I can say, first of all, thank you for having me here. What I'm most passionate about. So the thing is that since I was going to school, I'm dyslexic. You will find out this is about myself later, and I was always like looking for ways to learn and to be better at, because learning actually is the most important thing we should be able to do since we are kid. Actually, we do that since we are a kid. But when you grow up and you feel like it's becoming challenging because really no one teaches us the right method, you start wondering, am I going to be a great student? Am I going to be good at learning? Because learning is so important for my life. If you think about it, if you don't learn, you don't grow. If you don't grow, you feel dead inside. Because in nature, things that don't grow usually are things that are dead. So, anyways, I at some point my research happened, and I was becoming so passionate about the mind, how my brain likes working, how people's brain works, and it's like incredible because everyone has a different brain, and so everyone needs to understand what their specific characteristics are. And so I was falling in love in this trip inside of myself, understanding why, how and how and why my brain learns that way. Okay, and so I did many research. I came across many courses, many things. At some point, I found Genius in 21 Days, which I became an instructor in the beginning, and then I became also co-creator of this course, and it was fantastic. So they were able to customize techniques on me. I was able to read really fast. Now, from a dyslexic point of view, if you know about dyslexia, when you read, you're not able to read really well, and so you start not understanding. It takes you thousands of minutes or years sometimes to read a book. Maybe you never read it, and so after that course, I was able to read a 400 pages book in less than 6 hours and retaining everything. I was literally feeling emotional. So I almost cried for the experience, the amazing experience I had. And I said, everyone needs to feel this way. Everyone needs to understand what their capabilities are, what their possibilities really are. Because when you know how to learn, possibilities are limitless.
And
So
one of the things that really impresses me about your story is you came to the States not knowing English.
yes.
And by understanding the method that Genius 21 shares in the course to learn new languages, was it 3 weeks that you learned the English language to the point where you could facilitate the course?
Okay, no, I learned to 6,000 words in 2 weeks plus the grammar rules in English. And
Wow.
then after 4 weeks, I was standing up and holding the course. So total, I think about 5 weeks or 6 weeks. So I was already facilitating the course, and it was amazing. So I mean, I still remember people's eyes when I got into the meetings. I mean, it was in person. So
Yeah.
I got in the middle of the stage and start teaching, and some of those people, they were about 20, 25 people. They met me a month ago or a few months ago. So actually, I mean, I was already there 1 month and a half. So a few weeks ago before I started the course, anyways, I couldn't even spell my name at that point. And it said, are you Cosimo? Are you sure? Do you have a twin? Because now you're speaking English, you're teaching us. How is that possible? And I said, well, it's what you're going to learn in this course. So it's possible because of techniques. So am I going to speak a language like in a month or in a month and a half like you do it? I said, yes, because guys, you have to get out from the traditional way of learning. Because
Hmm.
the traditional way says it takes you time, will be long. In fact, think about like Spanish. If anyone learned Spanish, start learning Spanish in school, and they repeat it then in college, then start buying courses, they think like it took so many years until I got to speak the language, and maybe some people never got to speak the language. And so their brain starts believing that to speak a language, it takes so much time. Learning in general can take so much time, or it will never bring you to the result you really want unless you keep repeating over and over the same things.
You've actually
So,
written, well, you've actually written a book. What's the title of it?
Genius in 21 days. I was really creative about it.
No, but there's another one that you have because I've looked at it on Amazon. How to speak Spanish in a couple weeks
Oh, yes, no, I have to speak Spanish in 30 days.
in 30 days. Okay, I knew
Yes,
I was close with the title. That's fantastic, and I know you and Stephanie are prolific writers, and you're probably working on a book right now. But
yes.
there's one word that you've used a couple of times that really stands out to me after taking the course. You know, when I was in grammar school and junior high and high school, you know, it was just about memorization, repeat. Um, and the word methods stands out to me because the way I was taught to learn and the way Genius in 21 shows us how to learn more effectively is a totally different method,
Yes.
for sure. Um, can you comment on maybe what the distinctions are between rote memorization and having the right method?
Sure. So now memorizing to stick a piece of information to your brain, it's never been very effective. So usually this is it's called the student syndrome because
Hmm.
they to pass tests, they just do an immersive study a few days before the test, stick everything to their brain, and then they go to the test with some anxiety, maybe with not anxiety, maybe it doesn't matter. But what happens is after the test is passed, the knowledge is gone. That's not actually the goal of learning. The goal of learning is allows us to grow faster and have knowledge that we can use in any situations we need that kind of knowledge. So the method is a series of tools that can be customized on your brain based on your characteristics that allow you to read once, retain it, and be able to use it in the future if you want to use it. So what you learn with a method, you don't forget about it because you went through went through, instead of 2 steps, which is usually in school are reading and repeating, you're doing 6 steps, which are approach, reading, comprehension, organization, retention, and be able to explain. So there are 6 steps. Now, if you're applying only reading and repeating, you're basically having 1/3 of your results you can have in learning. And in that 1/3, you're going to remember less than 30% of the information you're going to learn. And so you're going to miss 1/3 of the opportunities you can acquire with the knowledge you are acquiring. So now, since we're talking about business, I don't know you, but when I finished college or when I finished my school, I didn't stop learning because business requires so much learning, sometimes even more than the school itself.
Yeah.
And so there, when you start becoming an entrepreneur, or if you start a new job as an employee, you understand that learning becomes fundamental. Otherwise, you're going to be cut out, or you're not going to achieve what you really want to achieve. So actually, you have limited possibilities. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
So learning is so fundamental because I found, for example, this is a story that I can share. I found this person, so he was a recent client of mine. He's a financial advisor. So he started as a financial advisor many years ago, but because of his anxiety of to pass the tests, he passed the test and he was like failing sometimes and all of that. He said, I can never be an independent financial advisor. I cannot pass those tests. So you know what? I will do the best that I can with the resources I have, which is fine, as long as it's what you want. But if it is not exactly what you want, then you should scale. And if you don't have a method, if you don't have the way to study, then what happens? You're going to be limited or jailed in that reality. So long story short, he passed. So we prepared the test in about 3 days. So I was able to pass the Series 6 in 3 days. And then we prepared the Series 7 in 3 weeks. So he passed also the Series 7 in 3 weeks with 97%. And he said, this is insane. I would like all the financial advisors I know to take this. And so I can say I have many other stories about this, about people that feel like I would like to achieve that, but I'm putting so much effort. I don't know why I can't break this limit to achieve this new level of life. And most likely it's because their brain is trying to find a method, but you didn't find it because no one taught you a method. So no one sat down with you and told you how your brain likes learning, how your brain likes organizing, how your brain likes creating new projects or working on projects without feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, distracted. So once you have a method, then you become more effective and you see more results.
So really, it's about transformation.
Yes.
Because what happens during transformation, in my mind, is you leave the old ways of doing things behind and you adopt a brand new system that you can leverage faster, more quickly, more effectively. Um, Tiffany,
Yeah.
I have so many questions for Cosimo, but I don't know if you have anything you want to explore in the conversation.
Well, we'll go with your next question if you have so many of them. I'm just like, there's so much going on. I'm not sure where to even start. And maybe that should be the question. Where do you even start?
Well, we'll get to that for sure. So my thought is we've got about 15 minutes left, Cosimo.
No worries.
Is one of the things that created great awareness in me is the learning styles, and then I want to get into who benefits from the course, other than everybody, and I've got my own opinions about that. And
Yes.
then definitely I want to cover towards the end, you know. The people in our community, they're lifelong learners, and which is why we wanted to share you with them. So the last thing I definitely want to talk about is how people get in touch with you, and I may even want to share my experience with you of our one-to-one together, where you took me through the various learning styles and pinpointed what my learning style was. visual global comes to mind. Can you share a little bit of that with folks? Because
Sure.
we teach the disc profile in terms of how to relate more effectively with our referral sources, with our prospects. And I know this learning styles conversation is another way, knowing your learning styles, knowing other people's learning styles, to speak to them in their language, the way they learn. Maybe you could touch on that for a little bit.
Absolutely. So there is so much, let's say, confusion about learning channels, learning styles, learning ways. Well, what counts the most in our brain is how our brain processes pieces of information. Because
Mhm.
if you don't process pieces of information, if we don't understand them, there is no way for us either to retain or to use them. So now, what I'm going to talk about, it's really inside of our brain. Besides visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, we have what's called cognitive styles. Well, cognitive comes from Latin and means the way our brain likes processing, so understanding, so learning things.
And everybody's different, right?
Exactly. Yes, everyone has a different brain. So yes, everyone is different. And so we actually have about 12 cognitive styles, but actually four of them are very important for us. And so for as far as processing and memory, we have global versus analytical and visual versus verbal. In my
Mm.
YouTube channel, I have like this video where people can understand more about it and analyze themselves and have fun with it. It's Cosimo Intermite on my YouTube channel, and you go there and you can see the comments of people saying, "Oh my gosh, now I understand how can I cut in half of my learning ways." And so, because global means that your brain likes having a big picture before it gets to details. And a detailed person, so analytical people, they like having details in order to see the big picture. And then you have visual versus verbal. Visual people are more into the actions, means they want to see images, taking actions, understanding how that works in reality. And the verbal people wants to understand the logic behind what they are doing. And so you understand now that if you're trying to teach to, let's say, I am a global visual, I say it that way. And for me, what counts is give me just the big picture and then the actions to take, so I will take it. If you're teaching this to an analytical person, they would say, no, 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 don't take actions. Just give me more details first. Otherwise, I won't take those actions. And so you understand now the extremist of those cognitive styles, because one will jump to the actions and make a lot of mistakes. The other one maybe will find analysis paralysis. So they never get to the actions. And so now what happens? Who's best? None of them are best, because in this case, you have to work with your cognitive styles. And second, you have to know how to unblock the analysis paralysis in one side and making so many mistakes before you check and understand the details on the other side.
Got it.
So there are so many things to talk about this. I did an entire training last weekend in Puerto Rico with this big company, and it was fun because everyone was saying, I'm trying to learn this. I've never been able to learn this. I've never been able to teach this to other people. And like they were teaching real estate investing.
Mhm.
They said many of them are feeling stuck because there are so many pieces of information, for example, in real estate before you start investing, that a global person will start, make mistake and never make that mistake anymore. So they will stop for that reason.
Yeah.
And an analytical person will not never start because they feel there is something missing before they really start and find the best deal for them, because they
Yeah.
don't want to make mistakes. So what's the best way? The best way is to give them a method to unblock those two cognitive styles, for example, and have them understand, okay, how can it be unblocked? How can I take actions to feel confident in order to feel confident to do that?
Mhm.
Because there is one truth. How can you apply something that you don't retain? You can't.
Yeah.
How can you apply something that you can't control in this moment? You don't feel comfortable to do it. And so you're going to be stuck. But knowing how your brain likes learning and knowing a method allows you to move forward. So the same
Absolutely.
in business. And
And
now,
and this isn't something, someone will understand in this 3-minute discussion. I mean, this is a couple of hour conversation in the course,
yes,
where you can really practice all of the methods that are taught uh, through the course, to the point where you become proficient with them. And then after the course, you can continue practicing these methods going forward. And there's so much to the course. For instance, I've been taught mind mapping a half a dozen times in my life, and there's a segment of the course on mind mapping. Well, I finally understand, as a result of taking the course, the value of mind mapping to the point that I'm inspired to use it versus just know how to draw a picture on a piece of paper, for
Yeah.
instance. Um, the memorization techniques are fantastic. The speed reading techniques, as I mentioned, I increased my reading 3 to 6 times and enhanced my comprehension by 60 to 80%. Just amazing. Um, to me, Cosimo, and maybe you can comment more on this, there's definitely groups of people that benefit more from this course than maybe other people. Like attorneys, to me, whether they're in law school or they're finished with law school. I mean, they have an enormous amount of information to take in and read on a daily basis. Insurance agents as well. Um, I know one of your target markets is people who own businesses. Um, what are some other business industries that have come to you to take the course in the past? Financial planners, for instance, you already mentioned.
Exactly. So I actually worked with many businesses.
Sure.
So we can go from like real estate investing, realtors, or um, anything in like CPAs, or
Yeah.
I can give you some stories about the CPA. For example, this is a story of my own CPA, not the current I have, another one that I had in the past, which was basically said, because I can't grow my business because I can't really manage all those people that are coming to my business right now. And
Mm.
so sometimes I have to answer that call and they ask me a question, I have to verify. It goes in my to-do list because I don't remember it on top of my head what that thing is, even if I went over and over on the same piece of information. And the fact it was reading faster, being more organized and more knowledgeable allowed him to knock off those calls faster. So he
Okay.
increased his clientele after he took the course from like 20% in the first month after 80% at the end of the year. So it was
Wow.
incredible. He was able also to hire other people to help him to do this. And now he had a CPA firm. So it's really, really fun. Now, then we moved in and like having a personal relationship with my CPA, so I changed CPA, but otherwise, he was very, very fun to work with. Then, let me see, of course, students from college, they are very, very good. If any kind of profession that have continuous education, it's really, really what I work with. But it doesn't need to be only learning, because for people, the word learning reminds them always like retaining, going through books. So what we did actually in school.
Mhm.
Learning is not just retaining or going through books or education, but learning is also how does your brain like organizing your daily time in order
Yeah.
to achieve the goals that you want. In the learning process, one of the 6 steps is organization.
Mm.
Whether you believe you have a good organization or not, if you're not accomplishing everything you want to accomplish in the time that you have, it means that your organization strategies that are part of your learning strategies are not customized on your brain, and your brain really doesn't like it. At some point, you're
Mhm.
going to feel burnt out from your own way of organizing. So, what I find out is that most of the business people I was working with, besides wanting to learn a language or wanting to read books and retain more, be more knowledgeable, the very first thing we're talking about is how do you manage your time? Are those strategies good for you? And if they are good, great, we can add something else on your plate. But if they
Mhm.
are not good, if you want to learn a language, so we have to fix first your organization, otherwise you're going to fall off learning
Mhm.
a language like you always did. And so what I would say to you is I work with any industries that have the goal of I want to be more productive. In productivity comes always how you manage your time and how you learn as fast as quickly as you can in your business to enhance and elevate your business.
I got it. Well, we only have about 3 minutes left, Cosimo. I just want to make some comments on another target market that I know you serve. I think the timing of this session is amazing. The kids here in Florida have just gotten out of school, and I see, well, I've seen, again, I participated in a course where a mom and her daughter went through the course together, a 9-year-old girl. I was amazed at her ability to concentrate. And I have friends who have gone through the program, fathers with their sons or daughters, mothers with their sons or daughters. The summer is a great time to explore Genius in 21 Days, to kind of prepare kids for the next school year. Again, whether they're in junior high, high school, college, or an advanced program. The other thing I want to share is one of the most valuable portions of the course for me was the portion before I even took the course. And that was spending, I don't know whether it was a half an hour or 45 minutes with you after I took a little diagnostic test. And you showed me where my opportunities for learning were as a result of that intake. And I just thought that that was an eye-opening and powerful experience for me that created a lot of curiosity in my mind in terms of, wow, I thought I was going to get this much out of the program, but I'm going to get this much out of the program. That's a lot if you can't see my arms on the screen. So one thing I want to give our audience the ability to do is to reach out to you, to get in touch with you. What's the best way to get connected to you, or the best ways?
Yes, you can either call my office at 303-589-7430, or you can reach my email or the Genius email at it's info@genius21days.com.
Nice.
And then the last part is you can email me personally at my business at Cosimo Cosimo Intermite at genius21days.com.
Nice. And then I explored your website a little bit. What is your website in case people want to learn more independently?
Well, it's genius21days USA.com.
Excellent. I want to thank you for being here. In my taking of the course, I am passionate about spreading the word of what you guys do, because I think it's life changing for people. I rarely in my life look back and say, I wish I did this then. But this is an instance where I say, I wish I took this course years ago. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd add that it's never too late, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Tiffany, you want to pop back on and close us out?
I just want to say thanks so much. It has been awesome sitting here listening and learning more about how we can be learning more. And this idea of when we invest in ourselves is probably the best investment that we can get. It's not volatile like the market is, or real estate, or any of that. It's a pretty good bet when we're betting in ourselves. Investing in ourselves. My gosh. And Tom, I know that you're all about the learning. And so the fact that you are just singing the praises of this program and recommending it to so many people, and let's share it with everyone, we know it's phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, thank you, Tom.
There's one thing that my father taught me in growing up, and he said, there's one thing that people can't take away from you, and that's knowledge. And I think that's a big reason why I've been successful in life, because I invested in myself, I invested in others, and together we succeed. So we're at 3 o'clock right now. Thank you, Cosimo. I miss Stephanie. I wish she was here, but maybe we'll do this again and get her perspective on it.
Absolutely, yes. We need a female touch.
Always. All right, be well, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Happy networking, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely.